Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another live stream. Now, today, I know I said that tomorrow I have a math exam, but things change when Bitcoin hits $47,000. So, guys, Bitcoin hit 47K. I believe it was the highest level that Bitcoin has come to within the past 2 years or so. But as always, guys, if you can let me know in the comment section if the stream is fine, if you can hear me fine, if you can see fine, that would be absolutely very, very much appreciated. But guys, Bitcoin is going on a madness. And people are saying, is the Bitcoin ETF approved? No, the Bitcoin ETF is not approved. The reason why Bitcoin is pumping is due to, again, hype that the ETF may soon get approved, and it is primarily fueled by by Gary Gensler's tweet, which he just shared a couple of hours ago. And people are speculating that because he has sent out this tweet, the ETFs are going to be approved any minute now. But ladies and gents, thank you so much for joining the stream. Make sure to let me know which country are you joining from, and what is your long-term macro target for Bitcoin if you are buying up Bitcoin still, or do you expect a reversal towards the downside? So we have to be careful here, right? We need to be very, very careful here. I took 100 USDT in profits, but then I added more margin to this trade. So this trade is now 226% in profits. Ladies and gents, massive, massive congrats. We had some buy orders on Bitcoin just a couple of weeks ago, and we managed to enter this trade at $40,570. And Bitcoin is currently trading at $46,700. Now, I would have usually added much more margin to this trade, but this is a $10,000 trading account that we're trying to get to. Well, let's see if we can get it to $1 million. That would be incredible in 2024, and I want to share this journey with you. If you guys are looking for a place to trade cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin, which is also a cryptocurrency, you can head over to the description of this live stream or video and sign up to Bitflex using this link to get up to $88,888 worth in prizes and bonuses. And I have a video here on how to use a cryptocurrency exchange if you are a beginner in crypto, and how you can actually claim 68K worth of the prizes within this bonus category. So what happened, right? Let's switch into the charts and see what is going on there. But guys, if you do leave a like and share this stream with your friends, that would be very much appreciated, because Bitcoin is going incredible. We're right now at $46,800, but we need to be very, very careful, ladies and gents, because Bitcoin is hitting incredible resistance. We're also coming up towards the golden pocket on the Fibonacci on the weekly time frame. And if Bitcoin smashes above this level, then we're actually not that far away from the all-time high, which is very, very funny. Like, Bitcoin is only approximately okay, it's like 47%, but we are over halfway. We're over halfway to the all-time high. And no, guys, the ETF is not approved. The reason why Bitcoin is still pumping is due to the hype. Now, there is an issue here. There is unfortunately an issue. The issue is that Bitcoin has now, I think, like 95% priced in the move. So I'm actually going to tweet it out right now, and then I will get into your comments. So Bitcoin ETF equals 95% priced in. Because I think that honestly now it's just it's a time where we've still not even had the launch. We've been expecting these in the past couple of videos. So massive, massive congrats to each and every one of you, because I've been mentioning that Bitcoin will most likely make a move towards the $47,000 area before getting to the ETF approvals themselves. We're almost about to hit the second take profit target of this parallel channel that we've mentioned as a pattern, as a potential bullish pattern breakout. And once we go into this chart here, of course, we have the golden crossover. We mentioned that Bitcoin can, first of all, claim the liquidity at 44.6K and then come up towards the 47, 48K territory and then see a correction towards the downside. But ladies and gents, guys, the ETF is not approved. This is something that I need to reiterate. The reason that we're pumping is due to Gary Gensler's tweet, and I will get to that in just a second. But first thing is first, let me see. Is the volume low, or should I increase the volume? Let me know if you can hear me all right, and accordingly, I will change and increase the volume. Do let me know. So let's see, where are you guys from? Hey, welcome, welcome. Wow, we got a lot of viewers. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you guys so much from all over the place. We have from the Netherlands, Bert. Thank you so much for watching the stream. Very, very much appreciated. We have Sayank from India. Hello. Very nice to have you on the stream. And yeah, we have a very, very, very diverse community. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It means a lot, especially because I have my exam tomorrow. It is a bit late here in Dubai, but Bitcoin comes first, of course. So let's go into what actually pumped us. Now, let me switch to this chart, and then I will bring up the tweet that caused Bitcoin to see the move towards the upside. So it was by Gary Gensler, and we do have some breaking news too. So this was from Capo. So you guys know Capo. He's always bearish. He's always bearish. And no, this is not the tweet that caused us to pump, but it is rather funny. If I jump back into the browser, we can see that Capo, for like the first time in, I don't know, years, he's expected Bitcoin to pump towards the upside. And you can see here, interesting week ahead. ETF news should be released soon. As explained, these days I expect the market to pump first, BTC to 48 to 50K, and Ethereum to $2,500 to $2,600. So for the first time in I think years, this man has switched bullish from bearish, and guess what? He was right. Capo was right, which is absolutely fantastic. But this is not the reason why Bitcoin is pumping. The reason, of course, is we have two pairs of breaking news, and then the big tweet that caused this rally towards the upside to now $47,000. So breaking news, Pantera Capital, which is a $3.6 billion venture capital firm, they're going to line up $200 million to invest into the Bitwise Bitcoin's spot ETF, and Van Eck is seeding $72 million to its potential spot ETF as well. So of course that's very bullish. We have inflow of capital going into the ETFs, which should eventually go into the Bitcoin markets overall. Hello, guys. Thank you so much for joining into the stream. We have almost 500 viewers watching the live stream. It would be very nice if we can smash 100 likes. That would be amazing. Troy, merhaba. Thank you so much for watching the stream. Very, very much appreciated. But let's go into the main primary reason why Bitcoin is pumping. So if we go to Gary Gensler's Twitter, we can see here that he posted this. He posted a thread saying some things to keep in mind if you're considering investing in crypto assets. So number one, those offering crypto assets investment services may not be complying with applicable law, etc., etc., etc. Then he goes on to risks regarding investing in crypto and how you should protect yourself as an investor. All very valid points, but us seeing this tweet from Gary Gensler is a massive indication that the ETFs are very close to being approved, and we can see that this tweet now has, or this thread has, 20.8 million views within less than in approximately 3 hours. We have 20.8 million views on this thread, which is absolutely incredible. And it looks like that the crypto community is really back on Twitter, and things are coming back, right? So the social risk that Benjamin Cowen was talking about in his previous videos, I think that the social risk is now reduced, and we're seeing actual retail investors or previous crypto holders jumping back into the space and watching the YouTube videos, interested about what's going on, and that is absolutely amazing. But that tweet gave us the indication that, well, the ETFs may be very, very approved shortly, and very shortly approved. And if this happens, of course, everybody's expecting a drastic price move towards the upside. But funnily enough, we're seeing that drastic price move right before the actual ETF approval itself. And I think that honestly now we're like 95% priced in. And even after we see the approval itself, maybe we can hit $48,000, or actually $50,200 is also a very, very important target as it hits the Fibonacci golden pocket on the weekly time frame. Now this is going to be an incredibly important level. The golden pocket on the Fibonacci weekly is historically known to provide incredible resistance and support, and within this scenario itself, if we go over $46,900, I think, and $48,000, $47,000, $50,264 could be the level that Bitcoin sees a reversal from. But the warning is, I'm not looking to short Bitcoin. If we jump back into the browser, we can see that we already have a long position on our $10,000 trading account, and it's currently in 500 USDT profits, 530 USDT profits, 233%. I took profits earlier on today because we were at critical resistance, but then I added some extra margin. So I'm not looking to short. The reason why I'm not looking to short Bitcoin, rather to buy Bitcoin cheaper, is because I do not like to, short Bitcoin or any other asset when there is a bullish trend. It's usually not a good idea to do so. Of course, not financial advice, but from my experience, you also see it in technical analysis books, textbooks, and you see that the trend is always your friend, and it's always a better idea in terms of a mathematical edge to trade along with the actual trend itself. So that's why I'm not looking to short Bitcoin, rather to either add to this long position or to buy up Bitcoin cheaper with limit orders, which has been pretty successful so far over on the channel. But that is the reason why Bitcoin is pumping. We're anticipating ETF approvals to come in within the next 24 to 48 hours. If we do see the approvals, we may even see Bitcoin trading its spot ETFs on Friday. And guys, look, what is going to happen? You may ask, what is going to happen after we see the Bitcoin pump? Hey, Carl's watching the stream. Hey man, nice to see you. So the volume, I know I need to increase the volume, but there's an issue with the mic, so I do apologize for that. I did try my best, but I was supposed to go to bed because I do have an exam at like 8 a.m. in the morning. But it is what it is. Bitcoin is pumping, and this is what is most important. If Bitcoin sees a reversal from here, it is very possible that we do so. I think we're like 90 to 95% priced in with the overall ETF news itself. We know since literally June of last year, Bitcoin's been pumping based off of the same sort of hype. You can see back in June 15th was when we got the BlackRock Spot ETF announcement, and since then we're up approximately 87.64%, which is not bad at all. And is Bitcoin going to pump even higher? Are we going to go to the all-time highs following the actual trading of the ETF itself? I think it's unlikely. Of course, in the macro landscape, the amount of capital that's going to flow into Bitcoin is going to be astronomically high. Like, we're going to be seeing institutions with billions and billions of dollars putting their capital into Bitcoin, making it a part of their 401ks, making it a part of their Roth IRAs. It's going to be within their portfolios. Yes, ideally, it should be like 10% of their portfolios or 50% of their portfolios. That's what we would want. But because this is traditional finance and it's not crypto degens like us, they're not going to allocate 50% or 30% of their portfolios into one asset, especially an asset like Bitcoin at this stage of time. If we compare their portfolios right now in terms of how much gold they hold in their portfolios, we know that it's approximately 1%, right? So even if they allocate 1% in their portfolios, I think it would be absolutely amazing for Bitcoin in the space itself, because it will show us that Bitcoin has now matured into a commodity where it's being treated as a hedge against inflation. And that is ideally what we want as Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a store of value, and we want it to be treated as a hedge against inflation. So, ladies and gents, it would be very, very much appreciated if we can get this stream to 200 likes. Let me know if you want me to do some TA on altcoins as well, because I know the altcoin market has been pulling back a little bit, but if you want any altcoins for me to go ahead and do some technical analysis on, then you can also leave it in the chat and I will go through them. But in summary, Bitcoin is now trading at $46,900. It is the highest level that Bitcoin has been since March of 2022. Guys, we are right now in 2024. If you didn't know, it's right now 2024, and it's been almost 2 years since Bitcoin has been at these levels. And it is just absolutely fantastic that we're trading higher than where we were 2 years ago. Finally, it's been a massive bear market, but congrats to each and every one of you for pulling through it. I mean, it was not hard. It was not easy. It was definitely very, very hard, and we all deserve a pat on the back for surviving it. Now, Bitcoin is at a very crucial point in terms of resistance and resistance from the Fibonacci levels. We can see that Bitcoin is now exactly trading at the level where we, back in April and March of 2022, climbed up back to, falling from the all-time highs, and found resistance at 46.9K and dumped approximately 60%, coming eventually towards the $15,500 level. In summary, this level is very, very critical. We also bounce from here to go back into the all-time high. And in the first half, the first phase of the bull market in 2021, Bitcoin was also finding support at this 46.9K level. Meaning, would it be a good idea personally to close long positions and take profit? I think it would be a good area to do so. I mean, honestly speaking, I don't think it is a bad area at all to be taking profits. As a matter of fact, do I want to take profits on this trade? If I were treating this like my own personal trading account with more margin, I would look into perhaps taking a little bit more profit, and I'm going to do so right now. So if we see here, we enter this trade at now $40,500. I already took some realized wins on this trade earlier on today, because we are forming a second MRI top on the weekly time frame, which I'll get into in just a couple of seconds as well. But I think this is a very, very good level of resistance for Bitcoin, and we may see a drop following the ETF announcement, the actual approval announcement itself. A small push towards the 48K level is still possible, but I honestly think that this is a very good level to potentially be taking profits. And I'm going to take another, I'm going to be taking another 25% of profits on this trade. Actually, let's not go that severe. Let's do 20%. So press confirm and boom. So we just took another 20% of profits, and I'm going to let this trade ride and see what happens. Our current stop loss is above break even. And yeah, I think that's what I'm going to be doing, and that's what I'm going to be waiting for. Make sure to check out the description to also check out the free Telegram channel, because I am sharing a lot of TA there very, very lately. I'm revising a lot for exams, and if I can't make an urgent video, then this is the place where I'm going to be updating you guys with my technical analysis if I'm going to be taking profits on a position, adjusting stop losses or take profits, etc. That's where I'll be sharing it. So make sure to join. It's completely for free, and I just update you guys when I can't do so over on the YouTube channel. But for everybody just joining to the stream, you're probably wondering why Bitcoin is going towards the upside. It is not because the ETFs are approved, but the reason why Bitcoin is pumping is due to Gary Gensler's tweet. And we share this when we first started the stream. We can see here that let's go into this tweet first, and then we'll build up to Gary Gensler's tweet. So far today has been the deadline day for the S1s, and we had Grayscale file their S1s, ARK21 and ARK Invest and 21 shares, BlackRock, Bitwise, VanEck, WisdomTree, Invesco, Galaxy, Fidelity, Valkyrie, and Franklin Templeton. The only ones missing from the original filings are Wise Origin, GlobalX, Hashdex, and Pando. And honestly speaking, these are nothing to be worried about. We got the big guys in and locked, which is absolutely fantastic. So going into Friday, we may see these guys actually trading on the NASDAQ, etc. And I'm just so excited for it. It's been something we've been all waiting for the past 10 months, and it's finally happening. And we can see here that Eric Balchunas, the guy, one of the two guys in Bloomberg that everybody on crypto Twitter is now following to see what the latest and most legit updates regarding the ETFs, he mentioned that as soon as we have the 19B4s and the S1s filed and approved, then within 24 to 48 hours we may see the ETFs trading on the markets, and we're very, very close to that. The 19B4s has not been approved yet by the SEC, but the moment we do so, I think that is the moment where we have the final confirmation that the ETFs are good to go and that we can actually access them on the NASDAQ, which will be very, very cool. And I'll get into why ETFs are important. I talked about this in my previous video, and they are a very important financial instrument for Bitcoin. Yes, we don't need it to survive, but by giving institutional investors the actual instrument for them to be able to gain exposure to Bitcoin, we're introducing them to a completely new asset class. And it's normal, right? Legally speaking, it's not easy for institutions to go in and buy spot Bitcoin. Some of them have to have ETFs if they want to include it in their portfolio. And that's exactly why having a Bitcoin spot ETF is so necessary so that we can give institutions who want to hold Bitcoin the ETFs to start off with, and then maybe individually, the senior position CEOs, the higher CEOs, or the LPs, GPs, they can go on and then acquire Bitcoin from spot themselves. Even if they don't, if we see significant demand on these Bitcoin spot ETFs, the issuers themselves will be forced to acquire more Bitcoin and add it to their basket overall to compensate the demand with the with the actual supply they have in their kind of storage. So that's why both ways it's incredibly bullish. We know that the halving is coming up in approximately 123 days, and when it does, the mining rewards are going to be cut in half. So the daily available Bitcoin on the market is also going to reduce by a significant amount. And if we have buying pressure from ETF issuers, if we have buying pressure from normal retail investors, then we have the demand, the overall supply decreasing for Bitcoin, the overall readily available Bitcoin to be sold to the market decreases at the same time. Based off of fundamental economics, Bitcoin's price should skyrocket. Now, we've always been talking about the different cycles for Bitcoin. Right, we've always been talking about this, and how can Bitcoin actually reach the $1 million mark? Because that is a place where people see is impossible. And look, it is actually possible. We can reach $1 million Bitcoin, but the only way for us to do that is with a combination of external events. Number one, if we see the dollar lose its value, right? Because we trade Bitcoin against the United States dollar. If the dollar loses its value from over money printing due to inflation, due to the devaluation of the currency itself, I went into more detail on this on my previous video, so I definitely recommend checking that out. If we see a collection of these factors, then this would simultaneously inversely increase the price of Bitcoin, as now it's being treated as a commodity and a hedge against inflation. If you want to hedge yourself against inflation, meaning you want to protect your money, protect your capital from inflation itself, what do you do as an investor? You go and buy gold, you go and buy silver. But now Bitcoin is going to be the digital version of that, and we know already that Bitcoin is better than gold in every way possible. Right, so it is much more convenient to own, much more convenient to store, and it is much more convenient to transact with. So if we see this adoption of the commodity tagline itself, and the United States dollar starts losing its value due to, they passed $34 trillion in national debt that they're paying more interest on in terms of monetary capital that they spend on the military per year. And if this situation worsens and Bitcoin can break out of this logarithmic curve, then $1 million is not out of the question. You got to realize that the market capitalization of other goods as well, like such as gold or commodities like gold or companies like Apple, they will also increase at the same time. So it's not possible. It is possible, and it's not something unattainable at all. And eventually, when Bitcoin does become the money, then everything is going to be measured against Bitcoin. We're not going to be trading Bitcoin to USDT. We're going to be trading other assets in terms of Bitcoin. And that's the time where at that point, you're not going to measure Bitcoin against any other currency, because one Bitcoin will always equal one Bitcoin. Ladies and gents, now we're trading at $47,000. We hit a local high of 47,200 USDT for Bitcoin, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to be checking your comments now. Finland, hey, very nice to have you on the stream. Thank you so much for watching. We have Sweden, members from Sweden joining in and tuning to this live stream too. And Diogo, my brother, thank you so much for watching the stream as well. But we are at a very, very crucial level of resistance. I'm not planning on staying for too long because I do need to revise just a little bit more and wake up as early as possible for my math exam tomorrow. But we can see that Bitcoin has hit very, very crucial level of resistance at $46,900. Back in the previous bull market, after we had this depression in the price by approximately 52% from the 69,000 all-time high, we had another rally up, which gave investors some more belief that Bitcoin can keep rising in value, but it was just a massive trap, and Bitcoin dumped approximately 67% to $15,000. And this is why this level is so critical. And if Bitcoin manages to get over it, then the next level that we'd be watching for Bitcoin is the $50,264 level, which is the golden pocket on the Fibonacci. this is where we're looking for. And for all of the new members that have been just tuning into the stream, in terms of our current long position, I took profit by approximately 40% profits, but the trade is still up over here by 237% because we are at phenomenal resistance and Bitcoin can see a correction after the actual ETF approvals themselves. If we don't see a correction and continue going up towards the 50K level, well then perfect. I'll just keep on increasing this margin on the trade and just seeing what happens and how far Bitcoin can go as well. But we've also been buying and accumulating Bitcoin on spot too. So if we go to spot, in the past months, we've actually been accumulating Bitcoin over here. And I put my entire portfolio of my spot account into Bitcoin as well, just very recently. So we've been buying up Bitcoin from as low as $27,000 to $28,000, $29,000, then $42,000 and $41,000. So we've accumulated some very nice Bitcoin on this account as well. And I think that is personally the best way to approach it. If you are a long-term believer in Bitcoin, if you've read the Bitcoin Standard, your complete perspective on the entire situation is going to be very, very different anyways. You're just going to want to keep on buying more Bitcoin. That's all you're going to want to do. And that's kind of the thing that I'm feeling right now. So what I'm doing is I'm DCing in every day, every week into Bitcoin as much as possible. And eventually, because I have this macro belief that Bitcoin will be a much greater sum than where it is right now, that is, I'm keeping that as my store of value. There's also an effect called the network effect, which I definitely recommend reading. So it's called the network effect. Definitely search it up. And there is a Wharton article that talks about it. And basically what it suggests is when more and more people use a certain product or a good, the price of it should increase just because the amount of people using it increases. And that's what's going to happen to Bitcoin. Eventually, countries are going to add it into their national treasuries. We're going to be seeing more third world countries that are suffering with their own currencies using Bitcoin as a legal tender for daily transactions. Once more and more people adopt Bitcoin and use it in their daily life, Bitcoin's price is going to be at a much, much, much higher level than where it is today, simply due to the fact of the network effect. And that is it. And I'm super glad to see Bitcoin at $47,000 almost 2 years after, which is absolutely fantastic. And the reason, again, that Bitcoin is pumped to all of the new watchers on this live stream is due to Gary Gensler's tweet. And he's been informing everyone about the risks with trading cryptocurrencies and investing in the space, which are all very valid points. But this is an indication that the ETFs may get approved. And this is just a warning from the SEC prior to the ETF approval and prior to it being tradable on the markets. And that pretty much sums up why we've been seeing this move. The ETF approvals should come in on basically the 11th. So today is 8th, Monday. So approximately Wednesday or Tuesday, we should be seeing the approvals come in for Bitcoin. And once we do end up seeing the approvals, it's just going to be a matter of hours until we see them tradable on the markets. And finally, this long-lasting event that everybody's been waiting for is going to be over, and everybody's attention is going to be shifting into the Bitcoin halving. So if you're asking yourself, well, what is the next narrative after the ETFs? It's going to be the halving, because we are very, very close to the actual halving itself, and it's something that people are... it's somebody's birthday. Happy birthday to you and P-Vlogs. A very happy birthday. Wishing you a beautiful year ahead. But the thing is that the halving is approaching very, very fast, and people cannot conceive this in their mind. It's here. It is literally almost here. It's in just a matter of months. And when we see the halving, usually we see a drop of around 30%. Yes, given this was an anomaly, that's okay, because this was in COVID. Bitcoin did have a massive red candle towards the downside, but this was an anomalous factor. We had COVID. And given that something like this doesn't happen again, then we shouldn't hypothetically be seeing as severe as a drop. But yes, Bitcoin does tend to see a very small correction towards the downside coming up towards the halving maximum. Honestly speaking, we can't put a pinpoint on it. We just know that after the ETFs, it is likely that the market sees somewhat of a correction. And we can see here on the daily time frame that the MRI has fired on the weekly time frame, a second MRI top. Now, this indicator is used a lot by Tone Vays, who's one of my mentors in technical analysis. and it's derived from TD sequential. Now, TD sequential is a measure of momentum. And we can see here that Bitcoin has topped twice in momentum. It's built up of 9 candles per each cycle, if you want to call it. And every nine candles, if it's a bullish move, you have a top. If it's a bearish move, you have a bottom. And that indicates a reversal to the opposite direction to which the market has been trading. And if Bitcoin does see a reversal going into the next candle, that would be a beautiful selling signal from the MRI, personally speaking, and it could lead to a correction towards the downside, but it's all going to be dependent on how the markets react to the ETF approvals. In terms of total leverage positions, in this candle specifically, so in last week's candle, Bitcoin already wiped out all of the crazy funding rates that we had going on. So the funding rates in total, they're actually not doing too bad. As a matter of fact, I can switch to it and we can have a look at how the funding rates are doing, and I can give you a brief explanation on why they're very important. So if I just pull up Coinalyze, that is a very good website for tracking the actual futures data and what is going on with funding rates, etc. So if I switch to the browser, you can see that in futures data, we go to funding rates. The total funding rates have been reset. Now you can see that the positive funding rates are getting back again, but even on OKX, on the USDC contract, we're still in negative funding rates. But these funding rates are getting higher, and I have been noticing that I'm paying more for my long positions and maintaining my long positions. So it is getting expensive once again, but we're not at the crazy levels that we saw during the massive spike up to 45K and then a dump to $40,000. But overall, I don't think we're too over leveraged in the market. I do know personally that there is a lot of retail FOMO kicking in. We see mainstream media talk about Bitcoin once again. We see them giving the 500K predictions, the $1 million predictions. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but usually when there's fear in the market, right, it is a time to usually start closing positions, start taking profit, and waiting for the FOMO to go over and DCing in at lower prices. And I do want to have a look at the fear and greed index. I do want to see what is going on and how much greed are we at right now. So the greed isn't too bad. It's at 71. It is not amazing. We are in greed, but we're not in extreme greed, and that's perfect. I think that is not too bad. It will update in the next 4 hours and 35 minutes. I'm not too sure at what price it updated at, but I'm assuming that it's nothing greater than 75. If it is greater than 75, then it is at a very greedy moment in the market, and it could be a good idea to now kind of taking profits and putting it to the side from my perspective. But of course, it's very, very important that you come to your own conclusions. Always take this knowledge that I'm giving you on my videos, on my live streams, and mix it with your own TA, and just summarize your decisions yourself. It's super, super important to do that. Now, if we look at the total liquidity on Bitcoin, we can see that Bitcoin is right now, we have a lot of liquidity towards the $34,000 level. So you can see that there's approximately $4.6 billion in liquidity at 33.9K. And if we have a look at the, towards the upside, we don't have that much people actually demanding to buy the asset. If we zoom out a little bit more, maybe it can give us a clear indication of what's going on. But we don't have too much liquidity at the top range. Yes, there's some liquidity in the 52K area. Yes, there is some liquidity in the 48K area, but it's nothing compared to what we've been seeing in the bottom side of where we are right now. So it is definitely possible we pump further, but there is more demand in the bottom section compared to going higher. I don't think it is a very good indication to look at right now because we don't have many liquidations in terms of people actually getting liquidated in their positions in this upper area. We have it a lot in the bottom area, but the market may just continue going on. And it's something like the CME gap. I don't like to look at the CME gap too much, because the Bitcoin markets are not reliant on the CME. It's a market that is tradable 24 hours, and most of the volume comes from the crypto exchanges themselves. But this is the reason why Bitcoin's been pumping. It's due to Gary Gensler's tweet giving the precaution to investors of getting into crypto, and people are assuming that the ETFs can be coming in very, very soon. We've already had the S1 filings from all of these big ETF issuers. We haven't had from Wise Origin, Global X, Hashdex, and Pando. Not too big of a deal. And if these guys get approved with their 19B4s, hopefully by the SEC, then we will be seeing the ETFs very shortly in the market. And I'm just super excited, super tired at the same time from hearing the word ETF, from saying the word ETF. It has been a crazy 10 months, guys. And if we can get this stream to 300 likes, that would also be very, very amazing. It is approximately 12 a.m. now, but it would just mean the world to me if we can get to 300 likes. That would be absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin it's been having a very, very nice run, and I'm super happy for it. I'm super bullish on Bitcoin in the macro landscape. Even if we do end up seeing a reversal from this Fibonacci line of, we can even come up to the 61.8 at 48.5K. We can also end up reversing from this 46.9K territory. If we do see the reversal, hey, so be it. I'm not going to be too bothered about it. I think that a correction is due, and it would be very, very healthy for Bitcoin, because the higher you go, the more severe the correction. That's kind of how the game works out. And if we don't see a correction now and we leave it for later, then the correction that we see later onwards can lead to a more drastic fall, hurting more investors and hurting the reputation of the space. If we have a look at the S&P 500, the S&P 500 is starting to erase the gains starting to erase the losses that we made on the last week's candle. And look, honestly speaking, the S&P 500 is holding up very, very strong. And you guys are absolutely amazing. By the way, we smashed the 300 likes territory. If we have a quick look at the traditional markets, which is super important for Bitcoin eventually, because it's all linked together. All the capital in the world is linked together. And looking at the traditional factors is also very much important. So we can see that the US hit an annual unemployment at a 53-year low. Now, this is incredibly bullish, but of course, this data is not the exact true value data that is available. There are a lot of factors that is not included in the unemployment data, but overall, it's not looking too bad. Can the Fed pivot going into March or April? Well, the total overall probability was sitting at around 62% last time. So now it's still at 62.7%. There's a 62.7% chance that during the FOMC on the 20th of March in 2024, we can see the Fed pivot towards the downside. And if that happens, that's going to incentivize people to take their money from the bank accounts and actually invest it into assets such as Bitcoin. Now, why does that happen? You probably are in the crypto space for a while, and you've probably been hearing about the FOMC and the interest rates, but you may not know why it's that important. Now, let me give you a quick rundown on it. So what happens is, let's say you had $1,000, right? And you're looking to get as much return on your $1,000 as possible. So if the bank is giving you a guaranteed 5.25% return per year, and then compared to investing into Bitcoin, which is volatile and may not give you a guaranteed return, then you may be likely as a more traditional investor to put your money in the bank and then collect your interest. But if the interest rates go down and you're getting like 2%, now you can risk it into assets such as Bitcoin or put it in the stock market that's going to be giving you higher returns. So that's why people pull their money from their banks and they start spreading it into assets such as Bitcoin. And that's why the interest rates coming down is going to be very good. But even if they don't, and if they keep stable, then it's not going to change too much. But if they go higher and shock the entire world, then, ladies and gents, the banks are already in massive, massive unrealized losses. So higher interest rates means that their losses will go even lower, putting them in more pressure of a total collapse. And if that happens, guys, Bitcoin is a savior for this. Bitcoin has been invented to save us from situations like 2008. And if we see a repeat of that, it is very bullish for Bitcoin. And that could also be another exponential factor to take Bitcoin to that $1 million mark. So it's looking very good for Bitcoin in every way possible. And we are coming up towards the halving. There's approximately 120 days left until we see the halving. And as you can see on this chart, after we see the halving, approximately a year after, we see an all-time high for Bitcoin. And that's just how the cycle works, right? And every single time people do say, right, it's going to be different this time. It's not going to be the same. Bitcoin's going to do this instead. But this is mathematics, and we can look at previous trends and we can go back into history and predict what the price of Bitcoin can do in the future. And that's basically how you analyze markets. And given previous trends, given what has happened to Bitcoin before, it can be assumed that after the halving, Bitcoin can make new all-time highs, surpassing the $69,000 mark. But before I end off the stream, I do want to give another quick summary of it. We do have another piece of breaking news that was other than Gary Gensler's tweet, and we can see here that Vanguard, was it Van? No, it was Van Eck. They want to seed another $70 million or so back into the, well, hopefully approved Bitcoin spot ETF from their side. So Pantera Capital, which is a $3.6 billion fund, wants to put $200 million into the Bitwise spot Bitcoin ETF, and Van Eck wants to seed its potential spot ETF with $72 million. Now, we know so far that BlackRock has $2 billion lined up from already existing Bitcoin investors. The truth about that is it does rely on multiple things, and we may not exactly see the $2 billion flowing into the first week, but it does look like if Bitcoin's price can go higher and we trigger more mainstream media attention, we may end up in the top 25 most successful ETF launches, just like Bito did at the top of the bull market in 2021. And if we have a look at Eric Balchunas and James Seyffart very quickly to see if there are any urgent updates that we must cover. So there isn't anything. So we had on the show saying that initially Bitcoin ETFs would trade up to an 8% premium above the net asset value initially. Geniusly shocked. So they believe that the value of the ETF will be 8% higher, have an 8% premium on the actual spot price of Bitcoin. But I don't think that that's actually going to be the case itself. So we can see that Eric Balchunas also reacted positively to Gary Gensler's tweet. And he is suggesting over here that this is a very good indication that the ETFs are very soon to arrive. But that is it from Eric's side. We can go to James Seyffart, which is the second Bloomberg analyst that everybody in the space is right now tracking. We can see here that the 19 B4s from Friday after market close are pouring onto the SEC website. As I type this process can take typically a few days and up to 2 weeks. Yet another sign of what we already know, the SEC is accelerating things for this week. So this is some breaking news actually. Why? Because, well, James Seyffart has been calling the actual approval of the ETFs between the 8th to the 10th of January. But you can see over here that the 19 B4s from Friday after market close are pouring now, and that it could take a few days, up to 2 weeks, for the approvals of these 19 B4s to be actually tradable on the market. So this is breaking news, right? And it would be very unfortunate if we don't see the approvals this week, because everybody's been hyping it up for this week. And a potential scenario that we can see is that we don't see the ETF approvals this week, the hype kind of dies out, and then out of nowhere we see the approvals and we shock the market. I think that is a possible scenario too. So I know there's been a lot of noise, but just in case anybody has been living under a rock, we're in the 8th to the 10th of January window that many of us had our eyes on, but the Bitcoin ETFs are knocking on the door for the SEC approval. So he's saying that anytime now we can see the approvals come around and see the ETFs trading on the market. So far, Bitcoin is still at $46,800. In the last hour or so, Bitcoin is, I think, pumped like 3%. I think we can check on the charts and verify that very quickly on how much percent we've actually went up by. So if we get our ruler tool, we can see that on the 1 hourly candle, we got to zoom in a little bit more. We've went up all the way from the $44,000 level to now $47,000. So it's absolutely incredible the amount of momentum and volume that we're seeing in the markets. It is amazing, 5%. So we went up by 5% in just 1 hour, and that is not bad at all, like at all. It's super awesome, but we just gotta be careful at this level. As I mentioned, it is tremendous resistance for Bitcoin. If we can make it above, then Bitcoin can see 48.5, $50,000. If we see a reversal from this point, then it is possible the Bitcoin comes back down to the 44K range. But I think that the market is still going to be hyped up and heated until we see the actual ETF approvals themselves. And at the point where we do see it, then it's just going to be a matter of seeing what trend to follow next. It's probably going to be the halving trend, but it is going to take another 120 days to get to the event itself. So it's just going to be another waiting game where we hype up one situation for a couple of months, and then coming up towards it, Bitcoin sees a drastic increase, and then following the halving, hopefully we continue that parabolic move. But I'm going to go into your comments now and see what you guys are saying, because I have been away from the comments for a while now. So what are you guys saying? Let me see. If you guys have any altcoins that you want me to look at, by the way, do let me know in the chat section. I am going through it right now. So if there's anything that you want me to see, do let me know. But I think the alts are going to be coming in the upcoming minutes from you guys. You are asking if okay, should we short? Well, look, of course it's up to you. It's completely up to you to decide if you want to short or not. But personally speaking, I do not like to short markets in a bullish trend. There is a very common saying that I mentioned earlier on the stream: the trend is your friend, and we're in a bullish uptrend. And during bull trends, I like to buy Bitcoin wherever I can, right? As it falls, I like to accumulate it, DCA into longs, but I never like to short an asset in especially Bitcoin during an upcycle. So let's have a look at Ethereum. So I think Ethereum has been mentioned. If we go into Ethereum here, let's get rid of this. Let's go into ETHUSDT. We can see that Ethereum is not, well, yeah, it is actually seeing a pretty big move. And we've been mentioning that on the weekly time frame, Ethereum has been forming a massive ascending triangle. And following a test back to its resistance, which we saw on the last week's candle, Ethereum has like a target of $3,500, I believe. We can just double check it in a second. Let's create this ascending triangle once again. So we have the line of resistance like so, and we can create the line of support too. And we can see here that this is a beautiful ascending triangle, which Ethereum broke out from just a couple of candles ago. And you can see here that we're forming some sort of a bullish pennant. And if we break out above this line of resistance, then we should be having the target of the length of this pole. But I am going to take it to the next level of resistance, which would be at $3,300 or even $3,500. So Ethereum is looking pretty good. I mean, I've been accumulating Ethereum so far, and another trend that I see coming up is the Ethereum spot ETFs, which are getting filed right now as we speak. There are some stuff going on in the background. Everybody's just focused on the Bitcoin ETFs, but as soon as we get the Bitcoin ETFs out of the way, I think there's going to be a shift to the Ethereum spot ETFs. And as you guys know, the Bitcoin cycles overall, or the crypto cycles overall, starts off with capital flowing from Bitcoin into Ethereum and then into altcoins. So overall, I am pretty bullish on Ethereum. We just need to stay above this line of now support. You can also rearrange this and look at it as a rising wedge too. This is another possibility. And in that case, we're still under this line of resistance, but we are very close to breaking it towards the upside. Now, let's keep this and let's be a bit more conservative. This is a rising wedge and it is usually bearish, but if we can break above it with confirmation, I don't think that $3,500 is too tough for Ethereum. I also want to have a look at the total altcoin market cap. So if we go to total, and what was it? Total crypto cap, but I wanted to excluding Bitcoin. So there we go. This is the total altcoins. And we should be seeing over here that altcoins actually saw a major pullback. And it is, in my opinion, time to be accumulating some of these altcoins during a pullback as such, especially coming up super close towards the halving. You can see here that now the altcoins have basically erased the losses with this week's candle with the Bitcoin pump that we've been seeing in the past couple of hours. But the crypto cap has broken out of a very crucial consolidation range. And as you can see here, the last time that we broke out of this consolidation range for the total crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin, we did rally like crazy and we hit all-time highs. And at the top, it was like $1.6 trillion excluding Bitcoin. So we can see the same exact thing here. We've broken out of the accumulation phase, and we're trying to, like we saw in the previous cycle, we're trying to test it and then launch further up. So we're testing it right now, and it is possible that the altcoin market goes up exponentially, and that's why we're expecting a massive altcoin season in the upcoming months. But ladies and gents, in summary, because I really do need to get to bed now, I'm super tired. Bitcoin can, if we break further higher from this point, we can get up to the $48,500 mark, which is the 61.8 on the Fibonacci. If we break even higher than that, we can go to potentially the $50,264 after the approvals and then see a correction towards the downside. If not, if we hold this 46.9K level, then we can also potentially see some consolidation at least at this range. Is back in 2022, Bitcoin had a relief rally and then saw the 67% dump at the 44.6 the $46,900 price target. And in terms of the trades, very quickly, if we give another summary here, we did take around 40%-ish of profits on this trade, but I'm letting it roll and see what happens. And it's going to be an awesome ride to just sit back, relax, and watch what the ETFs and halving do to Bitcoin. Ladies and gents, thank you so much for watching the stream. It's been an absolute pleasure, even though it's super late, but it is what it is. Oh, STX broke $2. Really? I want to have a look at STX. That's Stacks. Okay, let me have a look at STX first, and then I'll get into then I'll close it off. But STX is a crypto that I've been mentioning on the channel as well in these past couple of weeks in altcoin videos that I've done on the Moon Show too. And if we look at STX, I've been mentioning that I'm super bullish on every single project that is developing on Bitcoin, developing on top of Bitcoin, and aiming to make Bitcoin a better blockchain to be used. And Stacks is one of them. So we've been talking about Stacks for a while. I remember talking about it at $1.2. I think it was at $1.2 when I first mentioned it. And ever since that, we're up exponentially. So congrats if you decided to buy Stacks. It's actually one of the altcoins in my portfolio. So I'll probably look into taking some profit from it after closing the stream. But ladies and gents, that is it for today. Thank you very much for joining the live stream. If you're watching it on YouTube, thank you very much for watching it. Afterwards, I know it's been a long one, but do make sure to smash up the like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Guys, I'm CryptoKid, and see you all in the next stream or video very soon. Take care, guys, and bye-bye.